Hello guys, LaserBeast here and welcome to the Warcraft Weekly for the first week in January 2024, the show that brings you all the latest information about World of Warcraft from both within the game and the community around it. We'll take a look at the events happening in the game this week, what's currently going on, a look at the PTR and the beta to see what's currently being developed, and then we'll find out who was the winner of the very first Transmog of the Week competition, with details on how you can get involved with that yourself as well. So what is currently going on in-game? Now, this week, the Darkmoon Fair will begin this Sunday, as is tradition. The first Sunday of every month is when the Darkmoon Fair begins. You can do all the usual things you can expect from the Darkmoon Fair, collect some toys and pets and various things, and you can make use of the Carousel Ride reputation buff to give yourself a boost there if you're farming any reps. So that's it for the events. What affixes are there this week in Mythic Plus? Well, the affixes this week are tyrannical, so those bosses are going to be a bit more tricky this week. You'll also have to contend with volcanic, which is definitely one of the easy affixes in the second pool of affixes in this season. Just don't stand in the fire. And then on keys level 14 and above, we also have sanguine to deal with. So some tips for this one: for the tank, when stuff starts to get low health, just keep them moving. Be particularly mindful of casters, so try not to let a mob die underneath a caster that's then just going to stand there continuously casting and get a massive heal off. Also be careful with things like frost mages, beware, don't be slowing or freezing the mobs in pools. And for any classes with a knockback or a grip, for example, those kind of disrupting abilities, make sure you make good use of those. You may need to tweak your talent builds to get hold of those so you can use them to keep the mobs out of the pools. Do that as best you can and you'll have a good time. Good luck with your Mythic Plus keys this week. The worldwide event this week is the Dungeon event, so you can get the weekly quest from Valdrakken, which is the complete Mythic Dungeons. I'm pretty sure this is the one where you complete 4 or 5 Mythic Dungeons, I think it's 5, and then you get a piece of heroic raid level loot, so a nice little boost there if you have a fresh alt to gear up, or a nice extra chance to get a piece of gear for your main. As well as that, you can also enjoy the fact that every end dungeon boss will drop an extra piece of loot. So, happy days, may the loot be with you. The PvP event this week is the Warsong Scramble, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I have never done this in my life, so I'm going to give it a go this week. It's basically a match of Warsong Gulch, but with added chaos. Every team now has 3 flags, I should say each team, because there's only 2. You've got 3 flags, and you don't have to have your flag at your base in order to capture the enemy's flag, so there's just going to be flags all over the map. There's also these buff cubes that are scattered around which give you little buffs, such as the gripping chain, which fires a coiled chain at your enemy, pulling them towards you. 5 to 60 yard range, that's pretty nuts. You've also got the mega kick, so you can knock an enemy up into the air, which is melee range only. So again, pretty nuts. So this sounds like absolute chaos. I am going to give this a go. And maybe you should too if you've not done it before. But there we go. So that's it for events. Now, being the first week in January, the trading post has of course refreshed its stock. So let's take a look at what we can get from that. So remember, if you completed your trading post progress bar for every month so far since it started, this is the month where you'll get your achievement, which will unlock the Warden Transmog set. If not, you can check your progress by just looking at your achievements, and it's this one here. Now, there didn't seem to be what was initially thought of as a bug, where EU were getting 500 more traders tender when they completed their trading post this month, but it turns out it's not actually a bug. You get the watch plus the traders tender. So the watch, there was a bit of controversy about that because not many people are going to use a transmoggable watch, and it seemed like a bit of a waste of time. People were also annoyed at the fact that the mounts were now seemingly getting more expensive, and there were no mounts for the end of month reward, you know, when you fill the bar up, which I can completely understand because for me personally, all I do is save up enough traders tender to be able to buy any mounts that come out each month. Unless there happens to be like a really cool other transmog. So for example, I do main a druid, and I did buy the druid kind of trading post set for that, and I think I even bought the weapons as well. But other than that, I just buy mounts and that is it. And I think there's probably a lot of people that are like that too. So the fact that the mounts are getting more and more expensive, maybe this reflects that. So Blizzard are seeing that people are pretty much just buying the mounts, so that's why they thought they'd raise the money there, the amount of traders tender they cost. Possibly, you know, conspiracy theory hat comes on here, but possibly to try to nudge more people to purchase traders tender from the store, you know, in forms of these bundles that have appeared. But who knows, who am I to say? Now, there's also been a new unexpected thing added in Valdrakken. Miss Zulan has started selling some pretty expensive cosmetic items, which are limited availability, only being available until August apparently. Once these items do eventually go away from the vendor, they'll be available on the black market auction house in time. So again, they're probably going to be even more expensive and even less readily available, of course. There are a couple of notable items from this vendor, so the gold resonating crystal of first, of course, being a mount. 1.2 million gold it costs for this golden scarab, which, I mean, it is quite a nice model, but you would never catch me with dropping 1.2 mil on this thing. To be honest, you'd never catch me with 1.2 mil. I think the most I've ever had at one point in my bags was about 400k. But anyway, that's a sad story for another day. You've also got the Arsenal, the Whispering Temple Blades. Now, these are pretty sick. It's basically the Quell Serra remodel. And there's quite a few other nice, I mean, fairly decent transmog items from there. So if these, really jump out at you, they probably are worth spending this gold on. But yeah, the mount, a little bit questionable. But if you've got the gold there, then why not, eh? You can find this vendor, I should have mentioned this at the start, but you can find this vendor at the Black Market Auction House in Valdrakken. Alright, so that's what's going on in the game currently. Now, before we move on, I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Lord Fieldsworth. Mr. Fieldsworth gave me the first ever super thanks that I've ever received on this channel. Really appreciate the support. Honestly, I'm just happy if you guys watch my videos. Of course, anyone that's made videos before, you know that these things take quite a long time to put together and quite a bit of effort. But for me, the fact that you guys actually watch my content and, leave nice comments and, probably engage with things that I do, it means the world to me. It makes me so happy. But to get a super thanks, actually someone actually spending money to support the channel is just next level. So thank you so much, Lord Fieldsworth, for doing that. Really appreciate it. And if anybody else did want to support the channel, I have opened the members, so you'll get a few perks on there. I do want to add to that over time to give you guys more value if you do want to become a member of the channel. But if not, of course, I just appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch these videos, to leave a like and obviously share the video where you can if you think it's relevant to the people in your life. And yeah, just thank you guys for the support. It means the world. Cheers. Okay, let's take a look at what's been in development this week on the PTR and the beta. Now, as you can imagine, it's been Christmas and New Year. The guys have been having a bit of a chill time, as we all should have been at this time of year, so nothing really has come out from that. But what there has been on Wowhead is a bit of a deeper dive into the Blood Death Knight hero talents that have been obviously kind of given to us by Blizzard, and there's some interesting thoughts there on how they're presenting so far. So Taznak over on Wowhead has written a nice article just giving his feedback on how the talents are seeming to be, and he's given some constructive feedback in the form that the talents seem to be putting too much power into the cooldowns for the Unholy Death Knight, which is a problem they've apparently had in Dragonfly as well. I'm not too sure because I've not played that class, so I can't really comment on that myself. But what is good and what is absolutely brilliant is the fact that the alpha isn't even here yet, and people are able to give this feedback right now. So I'm hoping that this continues. Blizzard have been doing a really good job lately at doing this kind of thing and listening to the feedback. Brilliant job both with retail WoW, or I should say modern WoW, as the Blizzard employees like to say, and also with we saw some really good quick feedback and changes implemented from Season of Discovery as well, particularly with the Battle for Ashen Vale, but a few other things too. So yeah, this kind of feedback at this stage, before we've even had a chance to actually play the class and get a feel for how it does play out, it is brilliant. So keep it up, and I think we all should do that. It's really important these days that we do give Blizzard our feedback. So props to Wowhead for getting these articles done and out there already. So a pretty slim PTR and beta section for this week's Warcraft Weekly, but of course, as the alpha and beta do get rolling, this is going to be a beefy section in the coming months, so hold that space. So now it's time to join me around the community campfire. Come on in. It is just me here. I must smell or something, but anyway, come on in. Let's take a look at some things from the community this week. On Reddit, we have this post, which was one of the popular posts on this week, which was some lovely warm words for Bobby Kotick, who of course has left Blizzard. And these are words from an actual Blizzard employee, so here's his well wishes. Eat shit, Bobby Kotick, you pathetic ghoul. Waste the millions you didn't earn from people whose talent and light you will never understand. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Bobby won't be able to hear this message over the sound of his yacht engine, but nevertheless, it was quite a a funny but I guess kind of shocking thing to come out from a Blizzard employee right now. But it just kind of shows you how much they truly must hate this guy in the midst of the company itself. Because normally saying something like that on a public kind of space would be pretty risky for the status of your employment, as you can imagine. But this is actually one of Blizzard's senior designers that said this, so fair play to the guy. His expression, his emotions, in a deeply heartfelt way, and I can completely understand. There was also this post that kind of flew under the radar, but my stupid sense of humour stumbled across it and found it quite funny. Now this is drugs are nothing to joke about, Squirtle after only 3 years of using. So Squirtle has indeed been on the heavy stuff, and he's not really looking great as a result of that, as you can imagine. There were some pretty funny comments as well below the post, so there you go. I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's stupid and I like it. Now there were some pretty weird things going on as well in the community this time. So somebody spotted a guy with a 496 eye level piece of crafted gear. Now you can see that on the guy's Warcraft Armory page too, so he legitimately has this piece of gear. Now apparently the guy did report it as a bug himself, but nevertheless, why has this happened and what is going on? So obviously a bit of a bug. And then there was also another strange finding where there was a person who, looked at the keys in his group and he noticed that someone had a key for Scholomance Mythic Plus. Now, of course, the first thing you think when you see something like that is maybe it's a bug within the game or with the add-on that produces a result. But then, remember, think back to the roadmap. Do you remember that Blizzard mentioned the Pandemonium time walking event kind of thing that's going to occur? Now, what received the revamp in Mists of Pandaria? Scholomance. So it would make sense to me if they are actually going to make Scholomance a, Mythic Plus dungeon, which would be pretty cool because the revamp version was quite nice. And if this is maybe just some early thing that was maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say leaked in the code. And that's a very beginner, idiot coding person's way of saying things. But maybe it's already there in the code somewhere and this add-on has somehow pulled it through to say that this person's got a Scholomance key. I hope you get what I'm saying here. But I think this does nod to the fact that we are going to probably get Scholomance as Mythic Plus at some point in the future. Now that's my weird take. Let me know what you think. If that does happen, I told you so. If it didn't, you can tell me I'm an idiot, and that's totally fine. And now it's time for our final section to wrap up this episode, the Transmog of the Week. Now guys, thank you so much for coming into my Discord and submitting some transmogs. I honestly expected this for the first time to have 0 submissions, so thank you for not just making it be me again and for actually putting some of your transmogs forward. I thought all of them were great, and I'm going to give a few sort of honourable mentions and then we'll look at the winner. Now, I'm a fan of quite a clean transmog, so Selfrail and Jarvis with yours, those are both very clean, very nice. The Ghost Wolf transmog from Magiga was... Now, this was in first place until I went back and looked at one of the other submissions, which made use of a toy to kind of top off the transfer, which really just pushed it over the edge for me. The Ghost Wolf transfer was so nice, so clean. Obviously, it's not a full set. There's different elements going on there. Works perfectly together. So good. I could see myself using that as a fellow druid. So the actual winner of the transfer of the week for this week is Rimian. So, mate, this Drust Construct transmog. Now, you can see there, initially when I first looked at this, you look at the image on the right, and you think the transfer looks pretty cool, but the kind of purple shoulder doesn't really fit with everything else, and the red on the gloves on the other shoulder with the blue on the robe kind of doesn't tie in together. But when you see the way it comes together on the left, when you use the Heartsbane Grimoire toy, which I wasn't really aware of until now, it just looks so cool, mate. Like the red eyes, the red on the belt, that goes well so nicely, and the kind of dark tones it gives your character. Just brilliant, mate, for like a Drust transmog. So there you go. Well done, mate. Winner for this week's Transmog of the Week is Rimian. Okay, guys, so if you want to get involved yourself with the Transmog of the Week competition, all you need to do is join my Discord and go to the Transmog section there, the Transmog channel, and you can submit your image in there. Now, please do provide an item list with it if possible. A good add-on for doing that is Narcissus. You can download that. And when you view your character in-game with the add-on, it will automatically give your item list there so people can see what items you've used and can copy it if they want to. Or if you don't want to get the add-on, you can go to your Armory page and do it that way instead. If you do it that way, please would you leave us a link in the Discord so that'll make it nice and easy to find. Now, what I think we should do, guys, is give a bit of a theme for the week on these Transmog of the Week competitions rather than leaving it open and just too vague each time. So because it is the first week of January and we're in a brand new year, it says to me fresh and clean. So let's go for the clean transmogs this week. Now, you can interpret that however you will, but there we go. Now, please leave your submissions in the Discord and we will go from there. Now, I just want to say again, guys, thank you so much for watching this series and for getting involved with it too and submitting your transmogs and leaving nice comments. You guys seem to really enjoy this and quite resonated with it pretty well, so I'm definitely going to keep this up. My aim is to do this for every week of the whole of 2024 and see how it goes and keep on improving on the format as we go forward as well. So thanks for the support, guys, as always. If you haven't subscribed, please do consider hitting that subscribe button to get all these in your notifications as you go forward, and for more World of Warcraft content as well as guides from me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a brilliant day and a fantastic 2024. I've been LazyBeast, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.